My name is Celia, the fiancée arranged by the Hua family, the notorious wicked supporting heroine. Yesterday I was secretly delighted by a look from Jasper. Today someone has thrown a glass of red wine in my face and is calling me a shameless wicked woman. Celia, how could you do that to Fiona? Jasper's voice was like ice. She only bumped into you by accident, and you pushed her down the stairs? I stared blankly at Fiona lying on the floor and crying, then looked at my hands stained with blood. Memory surged in like a tide, and I finally understood my situation. I transmigrated into a book. Into a wealthy family melodrama, becoming the villainous supporting woman everyone wanted to see punished. Fiona was the first love of the protagonists. I was nothing but the cannon fodder who stood in the way of their love. According to the plot, because of what happens today, I'll be driven out of the Hua family, and Fiona will seize the opportunity to become the young mistress of the Hua household. I will then spiral toward ruin under various acts of retribution. Celia, what's wrong? Jasper frowned when I suddenly fell silent. I took a deep breath and began slowly. I didn't push her. What? I said, I didn't push Fiona. My voice was very calm. She fell on her own. Jasper's expression changed. You're still denying it? The surveillance caught everything. Then call the police. I said, then turned and walked away. Behind me came Fiona's sobbing voice. Jasper, Celia must have been so angry, I don't blame her. Ha, such tea-drinking words. The old Celia would have gone crazy over that, would have stormed over and torn Fiona's mouth apart. But not me. I'm going to lie flat. What's wrong with being a salted fish? No need to scheme every day, no need to ruin yourself over a man. Back at the Shen residence, my parents were waiting for me in the living room. Celia, Jasper's grandfather has already called. Mother Evelyn sighed. How could you lay hands on Fiona? I didn't touch her. Then how did she fall down the stairs? Father Victor slammed the table. You've been willful since you were little, and now you don't even have basic manners? I watched them quietly, feeling nothing. The original owner's parents favored sons over daughters, doting on their son Vincent while always criticizing and finding fault with their daughter. No matter how hard she tried, in their eyes she would never measure up to their treasured son. I'm tired. I'm going to rest. I turned and went upstairs. Stop right there. Victor snarled. We haven't finished talking. What is there to say? I turned to him. Anyway, in your eyes I'm always the one at fault. Evelyn was stunned. Celia, how can you say that? Am I wrong? I laughed. Growing up, when have you ever truly cared about me? When something happened, your first reaction wasn't to ask if I was okay, but to blame me for bringing trouble to the family. After I finished speaking, I walked up the stairs without looking back. In my room, I sat at the dressing table, staring at myself in the mirror. 22-year-old Celia, pretty features, slender figure, the perfect image of a wealthy young lady. But those eyes were full of grievance and unwillingness. From today on, you are me. I told the mirror, I will live well, for no one. The phone rang, it was Jasper. Celia, come to the Hua residence tomorrow. Let's talk about the engagement. I hung up the phone immediately. A few seconds later he called again, I hung up again. The third time he sent a text, don't think you can dodge responsibility like this. I replied, I'm not trying to dodge it, I just don't want to talk to you. There was a long silence on the other end before he answered, tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon, the whole family will be waiting for you. I looked at the message and suddenly found it ridiculous. How humiliated Celia used to be, able to be happy all day over one word from Jasper, sleepless all night over a single look from him. But what good did that do? His heart belonged only to Fiona, I was nothing more than an interchangeable fiancé. If that's the case, then why should I keep playing this one-woman show? I opened my laptop and began to draft my new life plan. First, break off my engagement with Jasper. Second, leave the Shen family and start living independently. Finally, I would watch the leads fall in love and tear each other apart while I sat back and enjoyed the show. Perfect. The next afternoon, I appeared at the Ho residence right on time. Reginald sat in the head seat, Jasper at his right hand, and Fiona obediently on the other side of the sofa, a bandage still wrapped around her arm. She looked every bit the guilty party. "Celia's here," Reginald said. "About what happened yesterday, do you have anything to explain?" I sat down across from Jasper. "There's nothing to explain. I didn't push her." "The surveillance," Jasper started to say. "The cameras caught me pushing her?" I cut him off. "Or did they only capture her falling?" "Jasper, drop it," Fiona said softly. "Maybe I was careless myself, Celia wouldn't hurt me on purpose." As if I had actually pushed her. "I heard," I said, looking at Fiona, "you were wearing 8-centimeter heels yesterday?" Fiona nodded. "Yes. The stairs had just been waxed. If you were hurrying in heels, isn't it only natural you'd slip and fall?" "But. And according to what you said, when I pushed you, why didn't you fall forward but instead fell backward?" I continued, "Does that conform to the laws of physics?" Fiona went pale. Jasper frowned. "You mean Fiona set you up on purpose?" "I'm just analyzing the facts." I shrugged. "Of course, who you choose to believe is up to you." "Celia." Jasper snapped, "How can you be so vicious?" "Vindictive?" I laughed. "Jasper, from the engagement until now, 3 years, when have you ever truly understood me? In your eyes I'm just an unreasonable heiress who does nothing but pick on Fiona, right?" Jasper froze. "If you hate me that much, if you trust me so little, then what is there left for us to discuss?" I stood up. "Grandfather Reginald, I'm here to say that I'm willing to proactively dissolve my engagement to Jasper." "What?" Reginald was shocked. Jasper was even more incredulous. "What did you say?" "I said I want to break off our engagement." I repeated, my tone calm. "We're not right for each other, a forced melon isn't sweet." "Celia." Fiona seemed to want to say something. "Miss Fiona, you don't need to pretend." I looked at her. "Isn't this what you wanted? Now that it's happened, are you happy?" Fiona's eyes reddened. "I didn't. You know how you feel." I turned to Reginald. "Grandfather, I know you've always cared for me, but you can't force matters of the heart. Rather than make everyone miserable, it's better to part amicably." Reginald sighed. "Celia, are you sure you want to do this?" "Certain. Then the Hua family will give the Shin family reasonable compensation." "No." I waved my hand. "We aren't short of money, and this was my idea, no compensation is necessary." Jasper suddenly stood up. "Celia, are you trying to threaten me with this?" I looked at him, and a wave of sorrow rose in my chest. What was there about the man the original owner had loved for 3 years? "Threaten you?" I laughed. "Jasper, you think far too highly of yourself. I just don't want to waste any more time and energy on someone who isn't worth it." With that, I picked up my bag and prepared to leave. "Wait." Jasper caught up. "Do you really want to call off our engagement?" "What, can't bear to let go?" I turned back to look at him. Jasper's face was complicated. "We've known each other since childhood, you." "So what if we've known each other since childhood?" I cut him off. "You've never truly seen me. In your heart I'm just an annoying fiancé. Now that I'm stepping away of my own accord, you should be thanking me." "I never thought of you that way." "Is that so?" I sneered. "Then tell me, aside from knowing my name is Celia and that I'm your fiancé, what else do you actually know about me?" Jasper opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "What is my favorite color? What food do I hate most? What hobbies do I have? What am I afraid of? Do you know?" "You don't, because you've never cared. What use is an engagement like this?" I walked to the door, turned my head and said the last sentence. "Jasper, I wish you and Fiona happiness." Then I left the whore residence without looking back. Fiona's voice came from behind. Jasper, is Celia very upset? Did I do something wrong? Fiona, you were right. Jasper comforted her. I smiled. That's right, now you can be together openly. And I am finally free. Back at the Shin residence, my parents were discussing something with my younger brother Vincent. When they saw me come in, the three of them stopped talking at once. Celia, you're back. Evelyn forced a smile. How did the talks with the Ho family go? I'd broken off the engagement with Jasper, I said bluntly. What? Victor jumped up. Are you crazy? I'm not crazy. I'm perfectly clear-headed. Do you know how important this engagement with the Ho family is to our Shin family? Victor snapped. The company is at a critical stage right now and needs the Ho family's support. Then have Vincent go marry Jasper. I sat on the sofa. Anyway, in your hearts, he's far more important than I am. What nonsense are you talking? Evelyn scolded. Vincent is still young. Young? I looked at Vincent, who was playing with his phone. 20 and still young? What was I doing at 20? Vincent looked up, annoyed. Sis, can you not take it out on me? You ruined the relationship with the Ho family yourself, don't drag me into it. Messed up? I laughed. How did I mess up? Didn't you push Fiona down the stairs yesterday? Of course Jasper would be angry. I didn't push her. Then how did she fall? Girl, you've been bossy since you were little, this time is definitely the same. Vincent. I interrupted him, do you think I'm domineering? Isn't that true? Ever since we were kids, you used being the older sister to grab everything you wanted. Whatever I wanted, you'd fight me for it. Is that so? I stood up. Then I'll ask you, what did you want for your 16th birthday? Vincent froze. A limited edition pair of basketball shoes. And then? Then you wanted it too, so Mom and Dad bought it for you. Wrong. I shook my head. What I wanted was writing lessons, but Mom and Dad said they could only buy one expensive gift for the family and asked us to choose. You wanted basketball shoes, so I said I wanted basketball shoes too, and then they bought them for you. I got nothing. Vincent was stunned. And your 18th birthday coming-of-age ceremony, you wanted to travel to Europe, I wanted to learn piano. In the end you went to Europe, and I stayed home reading. I don't remember. Vincent mumbled. Of course you don't remember, because you only ever remember what you want. I looked at my pampered younger brother. In your memory, I stole a lot from you, but in reality, I never received any of it. Victor and Evelyn exchanged glances. Celia, are you accusing us of playing favorites? Evelyn asked. Playing favorites? I turned to her. Mom, it's not favoritism, it's outright neglect. You never truly cared about what I wanted, what I needed. You are the older sister, you should give in to your brother. Why? Just because I'm a girl? Just because I was born 2 years earlier? The living room fell silent. I've already decided. I'm moving out. Where are you going to go? Evelyn panicked. Where can a girl like you go? I bought an apartment downtown, I'm moving in tomorrow. Where did you get the money to buy a house? Victor challenged. My trust fund, plus the red envelope money and birthday gifts I've saved over the years. The inheritance Grandpa left me is mine, you have no right to interfere. Victor opened his mouth, then said nothing. Grandpa had indeed left me a sum specifically for my education and independent living. Celia, you can't be so willful. Evelyn tried to reason. Willful? I laughed. I'm 22, I have a job and an income, why can't I live independently? Or do you want me trapped in this house forever, playing the obedient daughter in your eyes? We didn't mean that. You know how you feel. I looked around the home I'd lived in for over 20 years. Starting tomorrow, this won't be my home anymore. Vincent suddenly spoke, Sister, Do you think none of us love you? I looked at him, this younger brother who had been cradled by our parents, asking such a question for the first time. Does it matter whether they love me? I countered. All I know is that I've never felt valued in this family. But no ifs. I waved my hand. Vincent, grow up properly. Don't be as headstrong as you used to be. Mom and Dad won't coddle you forever. After saying that, I went upstairs to pack. Behind me came Evelyn's sobs. Victor was comforting her, and Vincent was asking, does sister really not want us anymore? I stopped in my tracks, a sourness welling up inside me. How the original owner must have longed for such concern, sadly, too late. I was no longer that meek, pleading Celia. In the room, I packed the important things into a suitcase. Photos, papers, a few small keepsakes. I turned over a photo and it was a picture of Jasper and me. We were still kids then, he wasn't much taller than I was. I was laughing happily, while he wore no expression. I tore up the photograph and threw the pieces into the trash. The Celia of the past is dead, the present me is beginning a new life. On the first day after moving into the new apartment, I slept until I woke naturally. It's a nicely finished studio, small but bright, decorated simply and warmly. Most importantly, this place belongs only to me. No parents' reproaches, no brothers' complaints, no fiancé's indifference. I made a hearty breakfast and ate it on the balcony while watching the view. Below was a bustling shopping street, the people coming and going were full of energy. This is the life I want, free and easy, not having to answer to anyone. The phone rang, it was Evelyn calling. Celia, are you really not coming back? Her voice was a little choked. I'm not coming back. But you're out there alone, we're worried. Mom, I'm 22 already. I have a job and I'm capable. Why can't I live independently? That's different, you're a girl. I hung up immediately. What's wrong with being a girl? Girls can't be independent? Must they rely on family or men? I won't accept such backward ideas. In the afternoon I went to the office. I'm a creative director at an advertising agency. I earned this job on my own merit, and it has nothing to do with the Shin family. Celia, you look well, my colleague Zoe said. Yesterday I heard about your engagement to the Hua family. It's over. I admitted calmly, I was the one who brought it up. Huh? Why? Jasper is so great. There are many great people, but if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. I sorted the papers on my desk. You can't force feelings. Zoe was about to say something else when my assistant Lily came over. Director Celia, there's an urgent project that needs your review. I took the file, it was a marketing proposal for a high-end jewelry brand. When does the client need it? Tomorrow afternoon. That's a tight deadline, but it's doable. I skimmed the requirements quickly. Call the design department in for a meeting. As we dove into the work, I felt a long-missed sense of fulfillment. Before, Jasper's affairs always scattered my attention. Without those worries now, my productivity improved noticeably. The meeting went smoothly, I proposed several creative directions, and the team quickly landed on the best plan. Director Celia, you're in great form today, designer Kevin said. This concept will definitely win the client over. Thank you. I smiled. You've all worked hard, dinner's on me tonight. My colleagues cheered. I used to rarely dine out with coworkers either because I had to go home to be with my parents or wait for Jasper's call. Now I'm free and can do what I want. The dinner tonight was pleasant, everyone chatted about work, life, and plans for the future. Celia, you're single now, have you thought about starting again? Zoe asked, eager for gossip. Not planning on that for now. I took a sip of wine. I want to focus on work and bettering myself. True, a woman should have her own career. I didn't get back to the apartment until 10 o'clock. I took a hot shower and lay on the sofa reading. It's my favorite pastime, it lets me completely unwind. The phone rang again, this time it was Jasper. I glanced at it and hung up immediately. He called 3 times in a row, I didn't pick up any of them. Finally he sent a text, "Celia, what do you mean?" I replied, "Nothing special, I just don't want to talk to you." "We need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about, the engagement is off." "You think you can escape like that?" "Escape? What am I escaping from?" I simply blocked him. From today on, Jasper and I are done. Before bed that night I stood on the balcony and watched the night view. Neon lights flickered, traffic flowed like a woven tapestry, and the city hummed with endless possibilities. The old me only thought about how to be Jasper's perfect fiancé, now I only want to become a better self. "Celia, your new life starts now," I said to the night sky. I was awakened the next morning by a knock at the door. Through the peephole I saw Jasper. I frowned, but I still opened the door. "How did you find my address?" "Your parents told me." He walked straight in. "We need to talk. I remember I blocked you." I closed the door. "And there's nothing left for us to talk about." Jasper looked around. Although the apartment wasn't large, it was finely decorated and cozy, full of signs of life. "You're really going to live here? Is there a problem with that?" "It's too small, and this neighborhood." "Jasper, what right do you have to judge my choices?" I cut him off. "Where I live is none of your business." He was silent for a moment. "Celia, I think there's been a misunderstanding between us." "Misunderstanding?" I laughed. "What misunderstanding?" "The things you said yesterday, about me not understanding you." "That wasn't a misunderstanding, that was the truth." "Jasper, now you want to get to know me?" He seemed to want to say something, but didn't know where to begin. "Never mind. It's unnecessary. We're already broken off. You can go chase after your Fiona." "I'm not what you think I am with Fiona." "I don't care what you think. You can leave now, I have to go to work." "Celia." Jasper suddenly grabbed my wrist. "Why are you being so heartless?" "Heartless?" I looked at his hand, where our engagement ring used to be, now gone. "Jasper, what do you mean heartless? For 3 years, every time Fiona showed up, you abandoned me to take care of her." "What is that, then?" "That's because she's your first love, the person you truly love." I took up his words. "I know, I've always known. I also know that in your heart I'm just an annoying fiancé, an obstacle standing in the way of your love. Well, the obstacle is gone now, you can be together openly and without shame." "That's not how it is. You know the truth in your own heart." I picked up my bag, ready to leave. "Jasper, we're adults, don't say those hypocritical things. You love Fiona, I know, everyone knows. If you love her, treat her well. And stop interfering in my life." After I finished speaking I left the house, leaving Jasper standing alone in the living room. When I got to the company, I threw myself into work. Yesterday's jewelry promotion project proceeded smoothly, the client was very pleased with our creative ideas and the collaboration has been confirmed. "Director Celia, you're amazing," Lily said excitedly. "This is our biggest project of the year. It's the result of teamwork. We'll have a celebration this afternoon." At lunch, Zoe said mysteriously, "Celia, did you know? Jasper and Fiona are engaged." The chopsticks in my hand paused for a moment, then I quickly composed myself. "Oh, is that so? Aren't you upset?" Zoe exclaimed. "They moved way too fast, didn't they? Why would I be upset?" I took a sip of soup. "I was the one who broke off the engagement, isn't it only natural they get engaged?" "But." "No buts. Jasper and I were never right for each other. Now we've each found the paths that suit us, isn't that a good thing?" Zoe looked at me, as if she wanted to say something, but in the end she said nothing. The afternoon celebration was a success, everyone was happy. I was happy too, because this was an achievement I had earned entirely on my own. I returned to the apartment in the evening and made myself a sumptuous dinner. Red wine braised beef, garlic broccoli, and my favorite cheesecake. Dinner for one can be refined too. After eating, I sat on the balcony with a glass of red wine, watching the city's nightscape. Jasper and Fiona are engaged, according to the plot, they will soon marry and then live a happy life. And I, the wicked supporting character, am supposed to cry in a corner and then do everything I can to exact revenge on them. But I don't want to. I want to live my own life, brilliant, fulfilling, free. Let the male and female leads have their romance, I will be the heroine of my own story. A month later, my life had completely fallen into place. Work was going well, I'd just been promoted to head of the creative department and my salary had risen considerably. Life was full, I'd taken up yoga and floral arranging, and even enrolled in a French class. Most importantly, I was happy. This happiness came from within, it didn't depend on anyone, nor did it need anyone's approval. Celia, there's a party tonight. Do you want to come? Zoe asked me. They're all friends from the advertising world. Sure. I answered readily. I used to rarely go to social events, I always had to consider Jasper's feelings and my parents' opinions. Now I do whatever I want. The party was held at an upscale bar, and the guests were all industry elites. I wore a newly bought little black dress, put on delicate makeup, and felt very elegant. Wow, Celia, you look so beautiful tonight. Zoe exclaimed. Single life really suits you. Thank you. I smiled as I took the champagne she handed me. The party was going wonderfully, I met a few interesting people, including a very talented photographer. Miss Celia, your creative vision is unique, the photographer Caleb said. We should collaborate sometime. All right, here's my card. Just as we were getting on well, the bar door opened. Jasper and Fiona came in, followed by a few friends. I paused for a moment, I hadn't expected to run into them here. Fiona hooked her arm through Jasper's, wearing a very large diamond ring on her hand, clearly the engagement ring everyone had been talking about. She looked surprised to see me too, then came over on her own. Celia, what a coincidence. How have you been lately? Fine. I replied coolly. I'm really sorry about what happened between Jasper and me. She put on a guilty expression. I know you must be very upset. Upset? Why should I be upset? I should be the one congratulating you. Fiona froze, clearly not expecting that reaction from me. Jasper also came over, he looked at me with complicated eyes. Celia, you. Mr. Jasper, Miss Fiona, congratulations on your engagement. I raised my champagne glass. I wish you happiness. After saying that, I drained the champagne in one gulp, then turned back to Caleb's side. Was that your former fiancé just now? Caleb asked softly. Yes. It seems you two parted very gracefully. Amicably. Caleb nodded and didn't pursue it further. I was grateful for his thoughtfulness. In the time that followed, I did my best to avoid Jasper and the others, focusing on talking with my new friends. But I could feel Jasper watching me the whole time, and that look made me uneasy. Celia, I'm going to the restroom, Zoe said. I nodded and kept discussing photography techniques with Caleb. A few minutes later, Jasper came over. Celia, can we talk alone? I glanced at Caleb, who obligingly said, I'll go check over there, I'll be back in a bit. Thank you. After Caleb walked away, I looked at Jasper. What's up? How have you been lately? Didn't you see? Great. I mean, you're really not at all unhappy? I frowned. Why would I be unhappy? Because Fiona and I. Jasper. Do you think I should be suffering because of what happened between you two? That I should beg you to come back to me in tears? I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm doing very well, better than ever before. I have my job, my own friends, my own life. I don't need to rely on anyone to find happiness. But we once. Once what? Once engaged? That was just our parents' arrangement. Once acquainted? That was just coincidence. Jasper, there was never any real feeling between us, you know that, and so do I. He was about to say something, but Fiona came over. Jasper, what are you two talking about? She looped her arm through Jasper's and smiled at me. Celia, thank you for your blessing. You're welcome. You two keep chatting, I'm going to find my friends. As I walked away, I heard Fiona say, Jasper, Celia really seems to have let it go, can we finally relax? Jasper didn't answer. I returned to Caleb's side and resumed our earlier conversation. Are you okay? He asked, concerned. Good. I just feel like something has finally truly ended. 2 months later, a small episode happened in my life. Vincent suddenly came to see me. Sis, are you doing okay? He stood at my apartment door, looking a little uneasy. Pretty well. What made you think of coming to see me? He hesitated. I wanted to apologize. Apologize? I was a little surprised. About what happened before. I know I was selfish, always expecting you to give in to me. Vincent lowered his head. I've realized now that you're my sister. I should protect you, not pick fights with you at every turn. I looked at this brother 2 years younger than me. He really did seem to have grown up a bit. What made you suddenly come to this realization? My parents have been fighting a lot lately, all because of the company. Vincent sat on the sofa. The Hua family pulled their investment from our company, and now the cash flow is a mess. I frowned. Is it serious? Pretty serious. Dad looks worried every day, and Mom is always crying. They regret it, they regret breaking off your engagement to Jasper. So you came to me to ask me to go back and win Jasper back? No. Vincent hurriedly shook his head. That's not what I meant. I just wanted to say, sis, you did the right thing. That Jasper was never worthy of you. I was a little surprised. Vincent had once admired Jasper quite a bit. Why are you saying this all of a sudden? I heard some things, Vincent said angrily. After Jasper got engaged to Fiona, he went around telling people how difficult and willful you used to be, saying you made unreasonable scenes, saying you were jealous of Fiona. A chill rose in my chest, but my expression remained calm. And then? Then I knew he wasn't a good man at all. A real man wouldn't speak ill of his former fiancée like that, Vincent said earnestly. Sis, you were right to leave him. I smiled, proud of this younger brother for the first time from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for saying that. Sister, will you forgive me? Forgive me for being so childish back then? It's all in the past. We've both grown up, haven't we? Vincent nodded, his eyes a little red. What about Mom and Dad? You tell them the Shin family's business can't rely entirely on marriage alliances. If a partnership is that fragile, it means it wasn't solid to begin with. But the company is really in trouble now. How bad is it? Vincent explained the company's situation in detail. It was indeed not very optimistic, but it hadn't reached the point of bankruptcy. All right, I have some money. I can lend it to Dad to tide him over. Really? But that means you'd be helping us again? I don't want you to keep sacrificing things for us. This isn't sacrifice, it's an investment. I smiled. I can lend the money, but on conditions. What condition? First, this is a commercial loan, we'll sign a contract and you'll pay interest. Second, I want to take part in the company's business decisions. Third, if Mom and Dad try to use my marriage again to trade for business advantages, the money is to be withdrawn immediately. Vincent nodded repeatedly. Okay, I'll go back and tell them. Also, I hope this is the last time. From now on the Shin family's business must rely on our own strength, we can no longer depend on outside connections. I understand. After seeing Vincent off, I sat on the balcony and thought for a long time. The original owner had always yearned for recognition and affection from her family, but that kind of care usually only appeared when others needed her. Now I no longer crave those things, but as a member of the family I have a duty to lend a hand when they are truly in trouble. This time, however, I will help them in my own way. Not selfless sacrifice, but conditional cooperation. The next day, Victor took the initiative to call me. Celia, Vincent says you're willing to help the company? Yes, but I have conditions. I repeated to him what I had said to Vincent yesterday. Victor was silent for a long time and finally said, "All right, I agree. Then let's set a time to sign the contract." Celia, Victor's voice was a little choked, "Dad is sorry. The past is the past. We look forward." After hanging up, I called the lawyer to draft the contract. This time, I was going to handle family matters the way a businessperson would. Clear, fair, with boundaries. On the day we signed the contract, Evelyn took my hand, her eyes rimmed red. "Celia, your mother really did neglect your feelings in the past. I hope you can forgive me." "Mom, it's all in the past. From now on we'll live better. You're living alone now, and your mother still worries." "I'm doing fine, you don't need to worry." After leaving the Shin residence, I went to the office. I recently took on a major project, crafting a promotional strategy for an international brand. The workload is huge, but it's very challenging. "Celia, the client is very pleased with our preliminary proposal," Lily said excitedly. "They want to see the full plan next week." "All right, everyone, thank you for your hard work. Let's push to win this project." I was busy until 8 in the evening before I packed up to go home. In the elevator I ran into the company's director, Warren. "Celia, you've been working hard lately. I heard you broke off the engagement with the Hua family?" "Yes." "That's wonderful." A flicker of interest crossed Warren's eyes. "I've always thought you were very talented. If you weren't tied down by family, you'd surely go much further in your career." I smiled politely and said nothing. Warren was in his 40s, divorced, and rumored to be constantly looking for the right partner. "Celia, if you have time, we could have dinner sometime and talk about work." "Thank you for the invitation, but I've been quite busy lately." I declined politely. The elevator arrived and I stepped out briskly. "Celia, my invitation stands whenever you like," Warren said from behind. Back in the apartment, I sighed. Since breaking off my engagement with Jasper, quite a few people had started showing interest. Colleagues, clients, even so-called quality men introduced by my parents' friends. But I really don't want to date right now. I want to focus on work, focus on life, focus on becoming a better version of myself. My phone buzzed, it was Caleb. "Celia, that concept you mentioned last time, I've already filmed a prototype. Do you want to come take a look?" "All right, where?" "My studio, I'll send you the address." Caleb's studio was in the Arts District, decorated with a very designer sensibility. "Look, this is the piece we shot based on your concept." He played a video for me. The images were beautiful, the idea unique, completely beyond my expectations. "Amazing. Your skills are really impressive. Mostly it's your ideas. We're really well suited to collaborate." We discussed some details together, and before we knew it 2 hours had passed. "It's late, I'll walk you home." "No need, I drove myself." "Then I'll walk you to the parking lot." On the way, Caleb suddenly asked, "Celia, do you have a boyfriend?" I was taken aback for a moment. "No." "Then, may I pursue you?" I stopped walking and looked at the man I'd known for 2 months. Caleb was excellent, talented, ambitious, and of good character. By all rights, he would be a very suitable match. But, Caleb, thank you for the thought. But I don't want to be in a relationship right now." "Why? Still because of your ex-fiancé?" "No. I just feel fine the way things are, free, not having to change myself for anyone." Caleb nodded. "I understand. So can I wait?" "I don't know when I'll change my mind. It could be a long time or maybe never." "It's okay, I'm willing to wait." Looking at his steady gaze, a warm tide rose in my chest. Thank you. You're welcome. We're still friends, right? Of course. On the drive home, I thought about how things used to be with Jasper. During our 3-year engagement, he never spoke to me with this kind of gentleness, never truly cared about what I thought. Perhaps that's the difference. Caleb respects my choices and is willing to wait for my decision. Jasper never once asked me what I wanted. Back at the apartment, I made myself a cup of herbal tea and sat on the balcony watching the night view. The city at night is beautiful, brightly lit and full of life. My life is the same way, single, but wonderfully full. I don't need anyone to prove my worth, I am my own queen. 3 months later, our company won that international brands project, and I was promoted to creative director as a result. At the celebration, all my colleagues were happy for me. Celia, you are amazing, Zoe said, holding up a glass of champagne. From manager to director in just 6 months. This is the result of teamwork. Without everyone's support, I couldn't have done it alone. Modest. Warren walked over. Celia, everyone can see your ability. But the director's responsibilities are heavier, and the pressure greater. You need to be mentally prepared. I will try my best. The celebration was halfway through when I went out for some air. At the hotel entrance, I ran into Jasper. He was standing there alone, and when he saw me he clearly froze for a moment. Celia? Jasper. I nodded. What a coincidence. What are you doing here? Company party. You? Business dinner. He looked at me. I heard you got promoted? We stood in the doorway, the atmosphere was a little awkward. Celia, Jasper seemed to want to say something, but the words stalled on his lips. Is something the matter? No, it's nothing, it's just, seeing you doing so well makes me really happy. I smiled. Thank you. What about Fiona? Is she okay? Jasper's expression grew complicated. We broke up. What? Weren't you engaged? Yes, but we later found out we weren't right for each other. Jasper gave a wry smile. Actually, we weren't right from the start, I was just blinded by my feelings then. I was silent for a moment. According to the plot, the male and female leads should go through some trials but eventually end up together. Now they've broken up, was it because of me, this wild card? Celia, can I ask you something? What? If time could start over, would we still have a chance? I looked at him, the man who had once obsessed the original for 3 years. Jasper, there is no if. And I'm fine now, truly fine. I have my own career, my own life, I don't need to rely on anyone. But what? You suddenly realized you've lost someone who truly loved you? You suddenly noticed Fiona isn't as good as I am? Jasper, none of that matters anymore. I'm no longer the Celia who would lose her appetite over you. I'm now creative director Celia, independent woman Celia, the Celia who doesn't need anyone to define her worth. Having said that, I turned to leave. Celia, wait. I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, but I want to say, I truly regret it. I looked back at him. Regret what? Regret choosing Fiona? Or regret losing the Shins as a useful marriage alliance? No, what I regret is that I never took your feelings seriously. I regret treating you with such coldness, I regret never trying to understand the real you. What good does it do for you to say that now? I want to start over. I want to really get to know you, to understand you. It's too late. Jasper, love isn't something you can take whenever you feel like it, or abandon whenever you want. When you chose Fiona back then, anything between us was over. But. No buts. I said firmly. My life is fine as it is, and I don't need anyone messing it up. This time I truly left, leaving Jasper standing there alone. Back at the party, Zoe asked me, where did you go for so long? I ran into Jasper and exchanged a few words. Zoe gaped. What did he want from you? He wanted to start over. I turned him down. Half a year later, my life had completely settled. At work, the team I led landed several major projects in succession, and the company's performance was booming. Because of that, I gained recognition in the industry and was named Creative Director of the Year. In my daily life, I learned many new skills: floral arranging, photography, French, and even a bit of investing and financial planning. Every weekend was packed, visiting exhibitions, attending concerts, dining with friends. Most importantly, I found my true self. Celia, here's the latest project plan. Take a look. Lily placed the documents on my desk. I skimmed through them and offered some suggestions for revisions. By the way, there's an industry summit tomorrow. Are you going to attend? Of course, you can't miss opportunities to learn like that. At the summit the next day, I gave a talk on the fusion of creativity and commerce, which was very well received. Afterward, many people came to exchange business cards with me, including several investors. Miss Celia, have you ever considered starting your own business? With your skills and experience, you could easily set up your own studio. I don't have plans for that at the moment. But thank you for the suggestion. If you change your mind, contact me anytime. When I left the venue, I ran into Jasper again at the entrance. Over the past 6 months, we've occasionally crossed paths at various events, but it's always been a brief greeting, no deep conversations. Celia, your speech today was brilliant. Thank you. I heard an investor wants to put money into your startup. Who told you that? The business circle is small, news travels fast. Have you thought about it? Not for now. I'm very happy with my current job. With your ability, your startup should do very well. Jasper, you're acting strangely today. If something's up, just say it. Jasper was silent for a moment. I want to invest in you. If you want to start a business, I can be your investor. Purely a business partnership, nothing else. I laughed. Jasper, do you really think I'd accept? Why not? This is a great opportunity for you. Because I don't want to have anything to do with you. Jasper, I thought I made myself very clear. It's just a business partnership. Maybe it is in your eyes, but what about in others? I've worked hard to build an independent image and I don't want your investment to make people question it. Jasper froze. Besides, I don't lack investors. If I really wanted to start a business, there would be plenty of people willing to fund me. Then why don't you start one? Because I don't want to start a business for the sake of starting a business. Jasper, I'm very satisfied with my life right now. I have a stable job, enough income and free time. Why would I risk doing something uncertain? But starting a business could let you realize greater value. Value? I laughed. Who set the standard for value? Is it only success if you're a boss? Is it only valuable if you earn a lot of money? Jasper, I don't think you truly understand me yet. You assume I should be ambitious, that I should want more wealth and status. But in reality, I only want a peaceful, fulfilling life. Never mind, I have an appointment. I'm leaving. This time when I left, I didn't look back. On the car I thought of the investor's words. Starting a business really is a fine option. With my current experience and connections, the chance of success is high. But is that the life I truly want? Spending every day rushing from meetings to fundraisers, managing a team, handling all manner of complicated business issues? I shook my head. At least for now, I don't want that. I like the life I have now, challenging but not crushing, rewarding without causing me to lose myself.